Hello and welcome to Why Is This News, a low-quality shit show where I talk about the shit video game news sites post that aren't news, but they think are because the first half of every year is slow as fuck in this industry. It's also a show where I make fun of bad writing because belittling others helps me compensate. What for, I'll leave to the comment section because you guys are pretty inventive. This isn't meant to slander people's work. Many of the stories I'll be discussing are written by writers who have written and will continue to write great stuff, yada yada yada. Listen, I just don't want Kotaku to sue me. Or maybe blacklist me, am I that's old. For our first news story, Anel Mujkanovic, a 25-year-old from Pennsylvania, went into Target on a handicapped electronic cart. No, he's not actually handicapped, by the way, at least not physically, drove himself to the games and accessories section, took off pants he had already urinated into, and then urinated on several games and accessories. In other news, Activision, EA, Konami, and Ubisoft are announcing that they are hiring a man named Anel Mujkanovic as an official spokesperson for their companies because he quote-unquote expresses most adequately how we feel about the gaming community in general. Rumor has it that Mujkanovic will be holding panels in which he will explain why pre-order on disc DLC is vital to the games industry at most major conventions in 2016. Most enticingly, if you buy the Mujkanovic Season Pass, you will get a private showing where he will wear his own pre-urinated pants to further enhance your viewing experience. For our second story, Kotaku has posted an article in response to Team NME losing the Smite World Championship titled, "Your 2016 Smite World Champions are not these guys." Other than being completely obvious, the article further enhances its pointlessness by devolving into the author mentioning how no team he's ever bet on has won anything and the other team had better players. The mention of player skill in the context of an esports championship personally shocked and dismayed me. I know that personally, the last things I expect from people who are paid to play games is that they be good at the game that provides their livelihood for them. This point of view is more clearly explained when we take into account how Kotaku puts about as much effort as I do into creating their material, which is to say effectively none. Why expect others to put more focus on their job than you do? Our third entry of the day comes from the lovely GameSpot, which has revealed in a shocking study that PlayStation users visit pornographic websites more than Xbox users, although there was no explanation as to how this actually applies to video games, why we should care, or how the most likely reason for this is because PS4s outnumber Xbox Ones 2-1. Somebody somewhere thought this was a vital piece of information for the gaming community to have. What the article didn't mention were all of the Microsoft employees who secretly watch you jack off on your couch alone through that freaky little camera on your Kinect, because let's be honest, neither of you have anything better to do. Although that joke was horrible because let's be honest, nobody uses their Kinect, my immediate inclination was to try and connect PlayStation to playing with oneself, a connection that should suffice to let you all know what my level of intelligence is and what level of comedy we're dealing with here. Kotaku will be featured in our last two stories of the day once again. They post lots of great content, guys. Websites are rife with it. Their first piece is the enticingly titled, "The Banner Saga is just fine on console," which kind of explains itself. I personally thought the game was quite good, but I guess Kotaku has higher standards for the Banner Saga than it does for Team NME. An excerpt from the sufficiently short article, seriously it's like 15 sentences, is as follows, quote, "I found the cutscenes to look a bit better on TV. But that's probably got more to do with the differences between my 50-inch TV and smaller PC monitor. And this benefit was offset by the drab text conversations ringing a little more hollow." Really, I have no words left. That really hit me where I live, that really touched me. The scathing critique. The writing is evocative of something, but I can't quite pinpoint what. Hemingway, Shakespeare? No, that's not it. It's almost like the author had to make a deadline in order to get paid and sat down for 15 minutes to write about the most mildly interesting thing they could think of. I said almost. And for our last story of the day, we have an article from Kotaku about nude mods in Fallout 4, which is, needless to say, actually a pretty good article. It features interviews with several modders who actually make some interesting points concerning the mods they make, and actually brings a new viewpoint into the conversation of nude mods in general. At the very least, it makes Fallout 4 less boring. For like a minute. Then it's back to being really mediocre. But hey, if you like your boobs pixely and you've had enough of your anime and Asian porn, you can now have less pixely boobs that are paradoxically made out of pixels in a mediocre game. As if the creepy mannequins everywhere in that game weren't already enough. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.